You're tuned into Podro
Hello.
Pascal, a celebration of the actor, Pedro Pascal, where we explore his filmography and how some of his greatest performances came to be.
I'm Rachel,
And I'm Katrina.
and this week we're catching up and getting ready for The Last of Us, The Mandalorian season 3, and the year of Pedro, which our producer in parentheses put Podro. So I guess just our whole year. Uh, Katrina, how have you been since the last time we filmed one of these?
Oh my goodness. Well, I've forgotten how long it has been since we last filmed one of these, and I'm so glad we're back and I can see your beautiful face again. Yeah, I mean, life has changed. I got a new job. I just started today.
Yay!
Yeah, at the time of this recording, as the community manager at Skybound Entertainment, and yeah, big year for that company. So I'm really excited to be in the door right now. And the holidays happened. That was a thing. I ate so much food. My cat got sick, but now he's better.
Yay.
And yeah, and I'm sure some other like really important stuff happened, and I just like am totally blanking. Like, did I go to Andor? I don't remember. I don't know remember if that was before or after the last one.
The last one that we did was, I believe, when the trailer for The Last of Us dropped.
Hmm.
So Andor, talk about Andor anyway. These people can, these people meaning our fans, who I love very much. You can listen to
These
Katrina
people.
talk again
No,
about
yeah.
Andor.
I went to the Andor premiere. I don't know if you guys are hearing this again for the second time, but if you are, welcome back. I'm going to say all of this over again if I said it before, but it was super cool. I was invited as a friend's guest, and like I saw a bunch of like our mutuals there, and it was really nice to just like catch up with everyone, and also just kind of realize that I was on the red carpet for a Star Wars event, which was just amazing. And the show, as I'm sure all of you know, is freaking fantastic. And it was a really great premiere. We got the first 3 episodes. And then as I was leaving, I met both Kathleen Kennedy and Diego Luna and got like some cool selfies with them and, hung out and stuff. And it was cool. And yeah, so that's life has been good. I cannot complain.
Listen, life's good. We all have tuxedo cats as the
Yep.
scroll. If you're watching this on a YouTube video, the scroll on the bottom of this says tuxedo cats are the best and they deserve to take over the world.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Um, uh, Ashley says the last video that we did together was October. However, I don't remember you telling me that you had a selfie with Diego Luna.
Yeah.
So
I
oh
posted
wait,
it like on
no.
Twitter. Was
Was
it?
the last video we did just me and Candace? Because then that would make a lot more sense. I think the last one was just me and Candace.
Oh yeah, I might have been on vacation.
So guys, you've never heard the Andor
Hi.
story before. You guys have never heard the Andor before because it
In,
was me and our lovely, lovely friend Candace.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Hooray!
and it
I'm
wasn't
back.
out yet in August. Great.
Great.
So no one heard a story twice, and even if you somehow did hear that story twice, um, it rules because Katrina like she met Diego Luna.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have come unhinged. Um, guys, we are 4 minutes into this and already chaos, but that's what you signed up for was just absolute chaos.
We're
If you want
back.
if you want a nice podcast that's organized, you can go listen to Ash Croissant and Brandon Davis's new Last of Us podcast that they're doing together because
Mm-hmm.
they're professionals.
We'll be listening,
We'll be
taking
listening.
notes, throwing the notes away.
Meanwhile, me and Katrina are like, "What up? This is chaotic, and that's why you come here."
Hey, welcome.
But yeah, that was a great, I guess, for Katrina, 5 month catch up.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a hot minute, but I believe we're going to be doing a lot more over like the next 3 months, 4 months maybe.
Yeah,
So yeah,
because he's back, baby. Um,
he's back.
yeah, I guess what happened to me? I had a birthday.
Yes.
Um, I watched Glass Onion. I got a Glass Onion tattoo, and by Glass Onion I mean like a murder mystery tattoo because I love a murder mystery. Uh,
Mm.
I watched a lot of screeners over the holiday. I drove for a total of 24 hours. It like split like 12 and 12 back home with my cat who I don't know where he went now. Every time I found him. Um he was in the car with me and my roommate, friend of the podcast, Leah, that we all drove back down. So I
Yeah.
dropped her off at her parents. I drove to my mother's. And he got to stay at my mom's house who hates cats. But she loves him because I make her. And so then I had a holiday with my little family and then came back here, had a New Year's. And now I'm here back on Podro. Oh, I also brought back I brought back the Fordcast, my other podcast where I go through the filmography of an actor.
Oh my gosh.
That one is Harrison Ford. And obviously he's also back in a big old way. And so I brought that back. So that's what I did
Yay!
since everyone here has seen me.
That's awesome. Everybody go check out the Fordcast and catch up on all the old episodes. And yeah.
But we're here, obviously, to talk about the year of Pedro, which is 2023, because 2023 kicks off with The Last of Us. There has been a lot of press thus far. We're going to talk about a lot of it. We have the whole Hollywood Reporter thing. We have a lot to go through.
Mhm.
And then we also have like The Mandalorian coming out. There is that Pedro Pascal, Ethan Hawke movie. I don't know when the
Mhm.
David Harbour, Pedro Pascal thing comes out, but point is, there's a lot.
Yep.
And we just want to do this to be kind of a little exciting. Like, here's what's coming up. And as Catrina said, we're going to be back more frequently, obviously, for I guess 9 weeks going through the episodes of The Last of Us on
Mhm.
HBO.
Yay. I hope you all missed us because now you won't be able to get rid of us for weeks and weeks and weeks. Here we
Yay.
are.
But so first, let's talk about, you know, some exciting things happening for us when it comes to The Last of Us in the next like weekish.
Mm-hmm.
So Katrina, what are you and our lovely producer Ashley trying to do, seeing if it works out?
There is an event here in Los Angeles for The Last of Us where I believe there will be a screening and some swag and other assorted things. And our producer Ashley and I both applied to try and attend through One Iota. And if it doesn't work, maybe we'll just show up and see what happens.
Just stand at the door with a sign that says
Hey,
we're 2/3 of Podro Pascal.
as seen on
Follow us.
Variety,
Yeah, or
on
Vanity Fair.
Vanity
I've seen on
Fair.
Vanity.
Don't
Honestly,
you
you guys should
remember
do
us?
that regardless because I think that'd be funny. Ashley said she's bringing her Pedro Pascal button just in case.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
I will say, my friend Adam, who helped make that happen, every time I meet him and he is talking to someone from his work and introducing me, he's like, "She's part of the podcast that we had Pedro Pascal," and I'm like, this is now how I'm introduced to people.
You're part of that podcast. Good.
Yeah,
That's
she's
good
part of
publicity for us. One by one, we will get everyone's friends listening to the show.
Yeah, and it did help that we had, 4 of our friends at Star Wars Celebration just screaming Pedro Pascal at him on a press line.
We love
Like
supportive
he's like, "What are
besties.
these people yelling at me?" And it's like a podcast about you because they're our friends.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, but and then so they are doing that on like a Monday or a Sunday. I can't remember which day you guys said it
Yeah,
was.
it's a Monday.
And then on Wednesday, there is the New York screening that I'm going to at an undisclosed theater. I was smart. I'm not out in the theater. You guys can Google it, I'm sure, if you want. Um, And I don't know if any of the cast is going to be there. I don't know exactly what's going on. All I know is that there are other events throughout the week. So I think this was like a press one. Unclear. They sent it in my email. Like I would not have known about this had I like just happened to check my email, and it was
Mm.
like, The Last of Us, and it had like a ominous looking poster.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
and yeah, but it's
Ah.
cool because it's like, this part is public information. The premiere is like long. It
Mm.
is a very long pilot episode. And so I'm excited because they're showing it on the big screen, and I was like, that'll be nice to like see it on like a big screen. I will say HBO, this is you can yell at me about going on tangent, but for my job, I watch a lot of things with watermarks over them, and there are some where my email was legitimately over my entire screen, so I don't 90% of the time I don't know what's going on. Um, but HBO's, I love it so much. I've never been so happy with a watermark on a television show because it's very like the opacity is really low, and I'm like, great, I can watch a show and be happy. But I would like to see the pilot on the big screen. And so it's like that. There are drinks and little bites being passed around.
Mm.
And I am a little detective. And by being a detective, I mean I just happened to be on Instagram and saw that our dear boy is going to be on Fallon that same night.
Ooh.
And so I got my little fingies crossed that Pedro Pascal is going to show up, to which I will say, hello, I am. Yes, tiny food does equal a good detective. If you're just listening, our scroll is updated throughout the episode, and Catrina is in control of it, so you can only imagine what is being said on it. This time, and it says tiny food equal good detective or good for
Mhm.
detective. Sorry. But yeah, so maybe he'll. I don't know if he's going to show up or not. But I know he is on Fallon that night, which means more content for us either way.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I
And
hope
so
he'll
next week
do.
you can check in on us and see.
I hope he'll do a funny little like performance like Paul Rudd did. Like that's all I want is a little musical performance. Just like, hey Pedro, I heard you like to sing, and then suddenly out of nowhere, Pedro's like, yeah, I love to sing, and then they do a little jaunty number together.
I hope it is like the my favorite thing Emma Stone has ever done, and this is coming from me, someone who genuinely does love Emma Stone and what Emma Stone chooses to do, minus that one movie, which she also feels bad about. Is when she sang the hook on Jimmy Fallon. I
Ooh.
think about that very often. So if he wanted to play that game, which I think is just I think it's like a modified version of lip sync battle if I am
Mhm.
remembering correctly.
Mhm.
um uh for those listening, so you can also participate. Our scroll currently says, should Pedro Pascal do a jaunty little musical number? Tell at Jimmy Fallon that Podro sent you. So go
Mhm.
ahead and tag Jimmy Fallon
Tell
on
him.
Twitter, on Instagram, wherever you want, but make sure you say Podro Pascal sent you. So
Mhm.
then maybe he'll say our name on the Tonight Show. And so we will have Vanity Fair and
Vanity
the
Fair,
Tonight
as seen
Show.
on Vanity Fair and The Tonight Show.
And
Let's do this.
host of Star Wars shows, Christina Ariel, is being like, have you read Podro Pascal?
Yes. Yes.
We're
I
just
love it.
racking them up. We're racking them up.
Slowly but
Um,
surely.
but yeah, check back in on our next episode where we will talk about our failures or successes. I'm gonna say successes. Because TikTok told me to manifest I'm the luckiest girl in the world. So I'm hey TikTok. I'm the luckiest girl in the world. But yeah, so that is us. That is what your hosts are doing.
Mhm. Yep.
And so Katrina, what is Pedro Pascal doing? What has he been up to?
Well, my NORAD Pedro tracker has updated. No, I wish. Come on, NORAD,
What it was
sponsor
like, what if
us.
it was like Santa?
Yeah,
It's just a
exactly.
picture of Javier Pena, but it was like Santa. And I
his
told you
little
where he
hat.
is, what he's doing.
He's just the pilot in the helicopter over the
Where he
Andes.
is, what he's doing. Yeah, he's over the Andes. Gotta fly over the fucking Andes.
Yeah, so he has two big things coming up in the immediate future. And that first big thing is The Last of Us premiering on January 15th on HBO Max. I think everyone is very excited for it. I'm very excited for it. And even though I'm scared that it's going to jump scare me, I'm still going to watch it. I'm still going to be
Interesting.
brave.
A jump scare. You know what is nope, I'm not going on a tangent. I was gonna say, you know what has jump scares but is worth your time? Megan. She's my
Yes.
best friend. She's
Have
my
you
best friend.
tried
I love her so
DMing
much.
with her yet?
I can DM with
You
Megan,
can,
my best friend.
yes, you can DM with Megan, your best friend, on Twitter.
Okay, I'm sorry for this spoiler for all of our listeners and Katrina, but Megan plays Toy Soldiers by Eminem on the piano at one point in that
Oh,
movie. And I truly just was like, I know this song. She's playing Eminem. And then I came out of the movie and everyone was talking about
oh my
on Twitter.
God.
I Googled Megan piano and then someone told me that I was correct. It was an Eminem
That's
song.
amazing.
Um, it was great. I love her so much. She's my best friend. Uh, enough about Megan. Let's go back to Pedro Pascal. But yeah,
Yes.
as Katrina said, he's doing a lot. He the press for The Last of Us has been gearing up. It seems like I don't know how exciting this is going to be to talk about, but it seems like they're doing a lot of big publications press. So like the big ones we've seen are like Wired and the Hollywood Reporter did a huge piece on the entire show. But it seems like a lot of the press has been like bigger publications, which I think is interesting because not that this game is niche. It's a very popular game, but I do feel like it would be. We'll have to see when more interviews start coming out, but I feel like it should be more like even between like gaming sites and publications that are big and film and TV. But I haven't really kind of. I guess maybe they're embargoed for a while longer because we still have 10 when we're recording this, we still have 10 days until the show comes out. So
Yeah. I mean, I would
we might
say,
see more.
yeah, if anything's gonna drop, it'll be on Monday. Because that's
Well,
usually how
that's
things pattern out anyway,
when
right?
is that whenever the embargoes are at some point. I should look that up.
Yeah.
But
Well, I would
so
think it's
like it
Monday
might be
because of
around then.
the fan event is happening that day. So you can't really
And then
embargo
and
fans.
the like LA premiere.
Yeah. So maybe that day.
Wild.
Look out for that, folks.
But yeah, so he did the Wired cover. Sorry, the part of the pictures that I am on how where we're recording this works was this picture of me and John Favreau. So I had to, I was like, where is the picture of the Wired thing? I got it though. So he did the Wired unmasking cover.
Mm-hmm.
I have not read this one yet. I don't know if you can. Um, but this is a hot picture, and that's all I really need to know. I'll buy it off the shelves right now. This
Why
and the
not?
Hollywood Reporter one, I do have plans to buy. Um,
I've noticed both shoots, and we'll get to the Hollywood Reporter one in a second, but like
mhm.
they're both utilizing a lot of green with him.
Well, I guess
Like
that's
green
because
and
the game.
yeah, the deep blue colors and themes. Yeah,
Well, yeah, and it's like greenery plays such a big part in a lot of that game
yeah,
because
because
you're
the
going
monsters
into
and mushroom
areas that are
people.
like, well, and you're going into areas that are so overgrown too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking legitimately about the shot in the game when they're like looking out and it's just like greenery.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, like maybe that's why, because I don't know. Also, his skin tone looks good with green. Congrats.
Yeah, definitely. If nothing else, if there was no other intention, good job, folks.
His skin tone looks good with green. I wear a lot of greens because my eyes are green, so then they go. I
Mhm.
appreciate it.
Same.
Compliment my eyes. The color, not like you don't need to compliment my eyes. I'm saying the colors would
Your
compliment my
eyeballs are some of my favorites, and if they fell out of your head, I would go to great lengths to
Oh
save them.
no. I do want to just do a scroll update, a scroll update. This isn't a Nick Kroll podcast. I don't know why I said a scroll update. But a scroll update, it currently says, can our hosts predict the future? Yes, they can.
It's
So
true.
just, this will be our new bit throughout.
Yeah.
I guess this is season 2. Throughout season 2 of Podro Pascal, we will do scroll updates, and it is whatever Catrina has decided to change the scroll to. I will update our audience of it, just in case you're not watching it, but you're listening.
An award-winning copywriter, live.
Perfection. But yeah, so he did The Wired. They did CCXP, right? Is the big Brazil.
Yeah, that was great. Oh yeah, his outfit. Yeah. Look at that. It's just
look at his little pajamas.
It's perfect. Like the idea of going to a convention in like $3,000 pajamas, like I just love it. Like that's the life I want.
That's how you know you've made it.
Right?
When you go to a convention and you're like, these are comfy, they're basically pajamas, but I got them for free from a very expensive place.
Exactly. I woke up and my stylist put me in pajamas.
And that's how you know you've made it. And yeah, and he also had this beautiful blue button-down shirt look.
Whose father is that?
Daddy's a state of mind.
It's a state of mind.
There was his tattoo that for some reason I feel like people on the internet thought he was getting rid of his tattoo. And I was like, hi, do you know how acting works? You can't have a random ass tattoo if it has nothing to do with your character sometimes. This is a tangent and I love it. My favorite job in Hollywood are the people who have to like CGI out tattoos. Because watching the behind the scenes footage for Avengers Endgame, Robert Downey Jr. like his arm tattoo was out at one point, and I went, wait, why is that like not covered up? And then I realized that someone's job is legitimately to just like cover up tattoos. And so kudos to the person who gets to do that for Chris Evans, who has a shit ton of tattoos. And I love that in the case of The Last of Us, they said our CGI budget is not going to that tattoo on your hand. Cover it up. Tattoo. I love it. I think it's very fun.
It's just putting a little concealer and powder on your hand. Like, what do you do? I used to work at Sephora, and I had a girl come in who was going to an interview and had to cover up half of her sleeve, and that was a job.
You made it work.
I made it work. That was in Times Square. That Sephora.
Oh my god, that's the worst one.
It's the worst one. That's also where I met Nick Cage, though. So, life's a box of chocolates.
You never know what you're gonna get. Yeah, my friend Sophie, who I've talked about on this page, she's the one who played through The Last of Us for me because I don't own a PlayStation and I'm bad at games. She works at the Times Square Target, and so yeah, I hear some. Yeah, there's a Target there now, across from Aladdin. Or no, actually, I think it's more across from the AMC. Whatever. If you go to Times Square, you can see my friend. But yeah, it's bad. But anyways, tattoo dilemma over. Still on his hand. But it was really cute. We got to see kind of like how him and Bella Ramsey interact with each other, which is very sweet because for those who know the game, it really does kind of hinge on their relationship, which they talk a lot when we talk about it. They talk about that in the Hollywood Reporter piece because the entire game is about these two characters. So if you don't believe that relationship, like,
yeah,
you're kind of done. But yeah, that was CCXP. I think that's around when we got a trailer. It might have been a little bit after, or it might have came like that convention might have come after, but There was a lot
Mhm.
of talking. People saw footage. So, like, it was gearing up to kind of get everyone excited about The Last of Us,
Yeah. Nice.
which
Yeah.
did give
I'm
us
trying
this
to
lovely little
remember.
poster.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the Twitter, not the Twitter, the group chat exchange when like the trailer dropped. Let me see. I don't know if I could find it. I think it might have
I
been too
think it
far
was just
back.
me yelling at Ashley to get screen
Yeah.
grabs.
We were all like freaking out, and I
I
like
told
did a bunch
Ashley
of
to just
crappy
do screen
screenshots.
grabs. I told Ashley to tweet just a bunch of his back, and she did it. It's on our Twitter because I was like,
Uh,
back. Which, again, this is a show about a video game. And so the
mhm.
trailer has a lot of him walking because, like when you're in a video game, what do you see? A dude walking. Like you're that guy moving forward. And so, great for me, a lover of how Pedro Pascal walks and his back. So
Mm.
no notes on my end. He gives good back, as the kids say. Do they say that? I don't know.
Do they say that? I don't.
Hey,
I
kids,
have no idea. Hey,
chime
kids.
in if you say gives good.
Generation Z, please help us. Help. Look, it's better this way than like us asking you to like, I don't know, fix the motion smoothing on our TV, which we have to do for our parents because they
Ourselves,
don't
yeah.
know. Yeah, we have to do that every year, at least once. So,
And remind them that their password is their brother's name.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, but so it's been really nice because like for however many weeks now we've just we've been seeing his face.
Yeah.
We've been seeing a lot of his face, and it's nice because it was a quiet couple of months there where he was filming stuff, or he was like they were still filming the show, or he was doing the movie with Ethan Hawke, and we got like snippets, but it was not like this. Like we're getting interviews every day. There's kind of something new. People are talking about him. The biggest thing that happened like before all of this was that he left Twitter because Elon Musk said Donald Trump can come back. Pedro, if you are listening, he has not tweeted. You can come back and be my friend again because he
Yeah.
has not tweeted. But yeah, so it's been a lot of like that and like just new pictures and interviews and stuff, which is exciting, which does get us to the
Ba, ba,
Hollywood
ba.
Reporter.
Woo! This was a good shoot. It was really nice. Like again with the use of like greens and blues and I think it was a lot more blatant this time around that they were going for like ruins and post-apocalyptic looks at the set. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's giving Twilight, which I do love. It reminds me of like those old like New Moon posters, but I like it. It works for this, and I'm not mad about it. I think it's very fun. It does
Mhm.
um so I guess I don't know if I want to start now. We're going to talk later about spoilers, so I'll wait to talk about them then. Spoilers for the game. So if you want to go into the show not knowing anything that happens in the game, which I'm like, cool, good for you.
Mhm.
Um, we'll tell you when to not listen. But so I want to talk about the Hollywood Reporter piece. We're going to talk a little bit about the pictures, and then I'll do the comeback in 10-20 minutes, and we'll make sure we're at that point and you don't get spoiled. But
Mhm.
we're gonna do that, just FYI, so you are aware. Um, but so the pictures and everything from this are great because like here's the Twilight one. Um, he's like obviously protective of her because she's like his daughter on the show, not literally
Mhm.
his daughter, but like his daughter.
Mhm.
And they ride around in a lot of like broken down trucks and stuff, which is kind of like obviously like Catrina said the basis for this photo shoot. But yeah, I like it. I think it's very pretty. It's pretty, but the show is also gritty because they're dirty
Mhm.
because it's the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like
Ugh.
okay, no one warned me before I clicked on this GIF.
You just went for it, didn't you?
I thought it was a picture, guys.
Good job, everybody.
There's a GIF of oh my god, I can't stop watching it. What? It's a gif of Pedro Pascal just reloading a gun. Damn. Am I pro gun? No. I need to stop that. Um
Oh.
anyways, back to this photo shoot. So like oops. Um, just stuff like this. Them with overgrown greenery again.
Mhm.
Just kind of like posing looking cute. I just realized she's in cargo pants. Um
I like that you can
and
kind of see the edges of this like building, the set piece that they put together for this.
mhm.
Like that's pretty neat. And then you've got that like I'm sure this is a better light, but like the Amazon like sunlight
Yeah.
like flash on them.
Yeah.
The
I love
TikTok
that.
sunlight, yeah.
They're like, well, get rid of your LED lights. Use the
The
TikTok sunlight.
sunlight. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the so all of this is for the Hollywood Reporter, which is like a very interesting read in general because it talks about why Craig Mazin kind of wanted to do this after meeting with Neil Druckmann, because Neil Druckmann, who they explain in the piece, which is cool. I didn't know this. Had to pitch this game when he was in college. He pitched it to George Romero, who was like, "No, I don't like that," and passed on it. And then after kind of working on it for a couple years, he ended up like working his way up through Naughty Dog, worked on Uncharted 2, and then became like a big like person in charge of Naughty Dog because of how successful Uncharted 2 was, and so he knew he could do whatever he wanted. And so when it came to The Last of Us, he was like, I want to be in control. If I'm gonna fail, it's gonna be on my own terms. Because he said in the piece that like they tested it and the person playing it was like, there's not enough big bosses, there's not enough this. And so they were like, should we change it? And he was like, no, like if it fails on me, because like this was my idea.
Hmm.
Obviously we know the game did not fail. And so then he like there was a Sam Raimi movie that kind of fell through because Neil Druckmann couldn't figure out how to like tell the story in a like roughly 2 hour ish arc.
Mm.
He couldn't figure out how to like kind of level that out. And so the Sam Raimi one, like Neil Druckmann was hoping it would just fall through because he was like, it didn't feel, he didn't say this, but like the way it reads is that he didn't think it was collaborative enough. Not he was like Sam Raimi was great. He was
Mhm.
working with me, but it was just like Sam Raimi was giving him notes on what to cut and stuff, and Neil Druckmann didn't want to do that. And so then he watched Chernobyl. So for those who don't know, Craig Mazin used to like ghostwrite on a lot of comedy scripts and then made Chernobyl about, the radioactive site known as Chernobyl. And I don't know how else to describe Chernobyl if you don't know the history of that. That's
Mhm.
on you or your schooling. So just go do a little quick Google. But he did a show about it, which obviously has not the same themes, but similar themes to The Last of Us in the sense that it is a show about trying to escape like catastrophe and that is destroying everything around them in the basic of terms.
Mhm.
So those two met. They decided to do The Last of Us together because Craig Mazin was like, "I'm excited about it," and Neil Druckmann was like, "This guy seems really excited about it." And thus the show was born. It,
Nice.
but I'll say my favorite part, and then if you have a favorite part, you can talk about your favorite part, Katrina.
So while you were doing that, I was looking up a video that is now 9 years old. It was my first press junket in Los Angeles ever, and it was at the Smashbox Studio. And there was a God of War presentation, but there was also a presentation for The Last of Us. And I interviewed, let's see, several of the devs there, and I got to do some like hands-on gameplay and stuff. And this was like, let's see, February 4th, 2013 was the release of the video. So it was still a little bit ahead of like release of the game. And it's so this show in particular is kind of special to me because it without like going to this and like building my career, I would not have eventually met Rachel, and then we wouldn't be here talking about Pedro Pascal in The Last of Us. So, thank you, Neil Druckmann.
First of all, the for our listeners and not watchers, the pure look of horror on my face where she attributed her career success and our future meeting on that moment. I was like, don't do that. Just pure fear.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's so sweet. Hey, Neil Druckmann, thanks.
Thanks. Yeah.
But he seems like a genuinely cool guy. Like I only knew him from like researching or watching the gameplay with my friend, and then researching the show and stuff. But I didn't know him. Like I didn't know much about him, but like the more I read about him, I'm like, oh, he's pretty cool. He's kind of hot. But hey, Neil, if you're listening, kind of hot. Like at least in the picture that he looks a little bit like Mikael Huisman.
Mhm.
That might be a pull just for me. But yeah, this piece is just really cool because it shows kind of like the breakdown of everything that they're doing with it. It also shows Craig Mazin getting really pissed at the question, what was the biggest challenge of adapting a video game for television? Which I said, yeah, I'd also be pissed because if I went into an interview with Craig Mazin, that's not what I would ask.
Mhm.
Obviously, someone has already asked that. Congrats, you got the same answers. Yells.
Honestly, I hate that, like, that isn't how, like, so much entertainment media will always be, because there will always be a type of entertainment media reporter who can
Mhm.
simply get away with asking dumb, shitty questions and continue to have a job and, like, keep turning in mediocre crap. But I digress. I'm so sorry. I just think there's a
Listen,
certain type of reporter who hear
I
that.
listen, Craig. If I was asking you questions here, here's what I would ask you about this show. What was it about a story of survival that inspired you in the first place after doing something like Chernobyl? Because
Mhm.
then, guess what? I got both those shows in there, and they're both about survival. And that's fascinating to me that he decided two shows about survival are exciting. And in this, he does go on to talk about like he's not interested in zombies, he's more interested in like the characters. So it's like I think he's just fascinated by how people kick on their survival mode.
Mhm.
And this has now become a Craig Mazin podcast because I'm obsessed with him and Neil Druckmann after reading this. But this whole piece is really cool because it like the way it's structured is Craig Mazin at the top and then Neil Druckmann explaining the game and then the two of them together kind of forming the show and how their dynamic is, and then it goes into the casting, which is uh, right now, if you guys don't want any spoilers about how this show functions, come back in like 20 minutes because I'm going to talk about their relationship. And so if you don't want to know anything about it, goodbye. See you in 20.
This is producer Ashley. You can go ahead and skip to 47 minutes. Thank you.
It seems that like the most important to them was Ellie, which is fascinating because I feel like this piece says that they didn't like chemistry read Joel and Ellie together, which
Huh,
feels
interesting.
nuts. Yeah, right. But I guess it makes sense because, like they say in it, the way that they filmed it was in chronological order. So, like for the game, again, leave, come back in 20 minutes if you don't want spoiled. In the game, Ellie is bitten by a clicker, which is basically a zombie. It's called like cordyceps, the like disease. It's a fungus that like turns you into a clicker, and you basically sort of look like a demogorgon. Um, but so what happens is she gets bit, uh, and her bite heals. And so they're like, oh, what the fuck does this mean? And so then the leader of this rebel group called the Fireflies, Marlene, is like, hey, we got to get her to our Firefly lab. And she can't take her. And so Joel eventually is the only one who takes her. And so the whole like object of the game is to get Ellie to the Fireflies. Obviously, things happen throughout their journey. You meet characters, yada yada yada. But the objective in the game is get Ellie to the Fireflies. And so, their relationship is like of the utmost importance because it basically is he's reluctant. He starts to care for her. They end up like a father-daughter relationship by the end. And so I guess in theory, them not having a chemistry read makes sense because it's like they are strangers in the game. They don't have to have a preconceived, like it's fine that they don't have a relationship, but it is still like wild that they were like, you guys can meet in this sexual harassment Zoom call.
Mm-hmm.
Like, insane. Yeah, great read.
Jesus.
I'll protect Bella Ramsey with my life. In this piece, I was talking about like being locked down for their COVID like protocol and how she went on to look at the comments about her casting and how people were being mean to her.
Oh no.
And like, but it says in it that she had like an attitude about her that was like, well, like fuck you guys, I am Ellie, which if that is how she felt, great, I love that, go off. But it's still mean that that exists on the internet and she had to see it. But
yeah, agreed.
Yeah, my favorite part of this is Craig Mazin calling out people who are mad Pedro Pascal can't grow a beard. And he even says they were like, hold on, I will read this quote from Craig Mazin because I do think it's funny. Here it is right here. Yet even Pascal's casting came with a bit of an uproar. Mazin says fans griped that the actor cannot grow a full beard, which just shows the level of fidelity some expect. You're laughing, but for some people, that's a serious deal breaker for them, Mazin says. They're like, oh my god, he can't even have the same beard as Joel in the game.
Who are these? These people are so weak, okay? I lived through a live-action Dragon Ball Z adaptation. All right? I watched it. I lived through it. Like, they didn't even give, like, Bulma, like, blue contacts. Like, it was just like, here's this terrible movie. You get what you get. Deal with it, kid.
Listen, I've had to I get you. I've had to live through the Broadway production of Moulin Rouge, which I like. I consider it a completely different thing than the movie Moulin Rouge because it is. But yeah, the whole piece is great. I would go and read it. We are so then the people who come back in the time frame. We do have a video that HBO released, which is an invitation to the set. That is just, exploring how they made the show and what's going on.
The amount of detail is incredible.
The Last of Us is a very genuine adventure.
The Last of Us takes place 20 years after a very specific outbreak happened that involves fungus.
That fungus is real. If it were to be able to infect humans, it would go like that. It's terrifying.
Viruses can make us ill, but fungi can alter our very minds.
Joel is a broken man. He is a father who has experienced loss.
I don't save Sarah's life, which is Joel's daughter, which is the event that shapes the character for the rest of his life.
A black market smuggler who's tasked with a job of transporting this 14-year-old girl named Ellie to this military group that provides hope for mankind to develop a vaccine.
When you're adapting something like a video game, changes have to be done smartly. We are telling more. There is so much in between.
Can I have a gun?
Absolutely not.
I was advised not to play the game, but I just watched some of the gameplay there, secretly.
It is going to be beautiful, terrifying, but ultimately it's enlightening.
So good. Does it justice and then some.
So, Neil Druckmann hot. I didn't lie.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, but that gives a pretty good overview of the game as well. Doesn't give too many spoilers because, like, the problem with uh, adapting something like this is that so many people know a lot of the big points. Um, but I think that's a great video of like summarizing, what you're gonna expect in the game, what you're gonna see, and all that kind of stuff.
I think that's the thing about like adapting games or comics or anything that has like an original like IP to like film is that like you always have to make those big moments that everyone is waiting for like impressive and like stunning to watch. Like it's my opinion that Game of Thrones did not retain its audience for so long because it continued to be good, but because it continued to hit big notes in big scenes. Like the Red Wedding, those
Mhm.
2 seasons after that were great for ratings, and then everything dropped out. And that's like just one big example, like so I think what I'm most interested in is less of a shot for shot remake and more of something where it's like I still want to be surprised. I still want to be like taken aback and have to like think of the big moments in the game that like I know are coming and I like try and prepare myself for, but I want to be like just completely thrown off.
Yeah, and I think also what works for like a show like this, which the Hollywood Reporter noted, is that Craig Mazin worked with Benioff and Weiss,
Hmm.
um, the showrunners of Game of Thrones, um, and that piece alludes to the fact that like Craig Mazin watched the original pilot of Game of Thrones and was like, "You guys have a problem. Like this isn't good." And so they went and reshot it, and that is like the pilot of Game of Thrones that we end up seeing. So like he's no stranger to like kind of adapting and figuring out what works and what doesn't. So I like very much trust that Craig Mazin is going to kind of nail it. I don't know. I'm excited. Excited for people to see it. I don't need to look at gamer Twitter. I know they're going to nitpick every little thing, but I
Mhm.
think like I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm excited
I'm
to have a
excited
big
for
HBO show.
Yeah, I know. It's been a hot minute, hasn't it? Since we've had a big a
Yeah, I
huge
was
hot
like
minute.
the White Lotus, but like that, I was like the White Lotus is different. Well, listen, this will bring in White Lotus fans. Murray Bartlett's in it.
Nice. No, I've been watching HBO exclusively to watch We're Here. So I am excited to have something else to watch and feel less angry about why I'm paying for HBO. So 2 shows,
You can
y'all.
you can go back and watch all of The Sopranos.
Oh.
Um, but yeah, that Hollywood Reporter piece was kind of like the biggest thing to come out recently. Katrina, you found a first ish look at season 3 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, we I don't know. I think Ashley might have actually uploaded that one. I don't know. Let me see. Hold on. I'm going to check out the
Sorry.
banners.
I,
Yeah. Yeah, so we got this during our little break. We got this at the turn of the year-ish from Disney, like somewhere in December. I don't know. The past like 3 weeks are a blur for me, so it's all the same time, same place. So, we got this one sneak peek at season 3 of The Mandalorian, which is coming up really soon on March 1st. And I'm really excited to see where we pick up with Grogu and Mando. I'm sure we're gonna get like a recap that just like chops up their scene from Boba Fett, and it's like if you didn't watch Boba Fett, but here you go. Um, but it'll be interesting to pick back up after like everything that happened to them in Mando.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for his little chainmail that you can
Yeah,
see in this picture. I
he's
love it
got
so
his little
much.
armor
I
on.
don't know
They're on the
armor.
run too. They're a Mando clan on the run, and I'm excited. Like it, we didn't get the clearest picture, I think, of Mandalorian culture in the Clone Wars, because it was just like the top dog Mandos and like the royals of Mandalore. And so it was interesting to me to like learn about like the devout sect that like the armorer and what's his name, Vizsla, dedicate themselves to. And like, so it's going to be interesting to see both the Mandalorian kind of branching off into his own clan, sort of a la Jango Fett, and also what looks like new Mandalorians that we caught in the preview. So
Yeah, I'm excited. Isn't Babu Frick in that preview too?
yes, he is. Yeah, Babu Frick
Babu.
coming back. Hey, hey,
Hey, Babu. I can't wait
hey.
for that. Just I want to see Din Djarin if I hanging out with Babu. Also just one more. Here he is in some pajamas.
Oh, I
Just some
need to find
PJs.
out. Someone just give me all of the Pedro Pascal pajamas. They always look so comfy.
They really do. And yeah, so guys, it's gonna be a really exciting time here on the pod. We have reviews, we have things to talk about and stuff to see. And so until then, we're going to end this with, our tried, our true. And let me sing you a little ditty. Stash, 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 stash. The stash on everybody's lips is gonna be Pedro's.
Hey,
Welcome to Stash of the Week, where we, your hosts, pick a picture of Pedro Pascal that is our favorite of that week. Katrina, why don't you go first?
my favorite Pedro Pascal stash this week. I was gonna go with a classic Mando look, but I actually, because of that preview video we watched earlier, no spoilers in this image. I decided this stash right here looks great. It's nice. It's full. It's salt and peppery. He looks like he's saying something really important that like the teenagers aren't listening to. So stash of the week for me.
I completely agree. My stash, oh, not that. I mean, there's another image for Katrina. My stash is an image I did not show during the Hollywood Reporter because it is currently my iPad background. And my favorite from there. And it is him sitting looking great. His hair looks great. His stash looks great. He's posing. I love it. No notes. And that's my pick for stash of the week. And yeah.
Jacket. Oh,
You guys are going to be back a lot. And I'm so excited to spend time with you guys. Katrina, where can the people find you?
you can find me first and foremost. You can send all of your questions and messages and Pedro thoughts to our Twitter and Instagram accounts. That's Podro Pascal on both platforms. Give us a follow on both, just in case one of them disappears in the next few weeks. Who knows what's going to happen? We cannot predict the future all the time. But you can find me anywhere on the internet if you look for O Katrina. That's OHCATRINA. I've got a bunch of other podcasts. I've got some tabletop shows. I'm gonna start doing streaming on Twitch soon. So just follow me everywhere and tell me I'm doing a good job.
You are always doing a good job.
So are you.
You guys can follow me at Rachel Leishman on Twitter, at Rachel_Leishman on Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, I have the Fordcast, a Harrison Ford podcast, which is gearing back up because he is in 1923 and he is in Shrinking and he's in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So
Harrison's leaving his house again.
That he is. So that's gearing up. Obviously, I'll be here on Podro Pascal, and you can follow my work at the Married Sue. And until next time, which will be a lot sooner than last time, we will see you guys later. Goodbye.